Yeah, you're just behind it.
Yeah.
That told me. I was gonna say something, yes.
Yeah, there's a story behind that.
So the, the store is right down to the gas station, Open Space or whatever.
You know, I did notice that once I crossed the equator to get over to Macomb County. The roads and the traffic got
Abysmal, just
considerably worse.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
You're absolutely right. We always got to give ourselves an out though. From where we're
Here, in case you need a bag.
Sorry, I got that.
Well,
We try to expand some educational program to other counties from wing.
Yes, we're not-
Did you buy the
we're not
potato chips
good
at
at
this?
those things.
at the end of the
Just-
day.
We don't learn. We don't learn.
What's in your box?
I don't know about county, I don't know, 30 years or something, but I grew up in Warren.
Right,
this
yeah.
high school, And I still know that part of it.
Yep.
Better than I.
It's right. It's
crazy.
the back, it's like a bag of your head. You see 9 Mile and you're like, I got this. I know where Sherwood's at. I'm all set.
The roads aren't interrupted with a bunch of little lanes.
Yep, it's just, everyone loves a grid that way.
That's exciting. All right, good evening. I'd like to call the Smart Board meeting on August 24th, 2023 to order. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Martin. If we'll take the roll, please.
Chairwoman, Ms. Hillary Chambers.
Present.
Vice Chairperson, Mr. Abdul Haddis. Mr. Abdul,
Present.
Dr. Curtis Ivory,
Present.
Mr. Royce Manico,
Here.
Mr. Britt Rezigan,
Present.
Mr. John Paul Rea,
Here.
Ms. Vicky Wolber.
Present.
All right, we'll move to item number 4, adoption of the agenda. I would like to remove item F. Do I need an amendment before we approve the agenda to remove item F, Tiffany, or can we just make that change and then approve the agenda?
You may make the change.
Okay, so we're removing item F.
Madam Chair, make a motion to approve the agenda with removal of item F.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda is adopted. Certification of public notice.
SMART will hold the August 24th, 2023 Board of Directors meeting at 6 p.m. in Macomb County's Community College, Albert L. Lorenzo Cultural Center, Building K, located on 44575 Garfield Road, Clinton Township, Michigan 48038. This meeting is open to the public.
I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting on July 27th.
So move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the meetings are approved. Are there members of the public that would like to participate? You can come forward and please state your name and your city of residence.
Would seem I'm the only one. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Lucas Lasecki. I'm from Farmington Hills, Oakland County. I attended the board meeting in August of last year in which SMART declared that it had become the new SMART, new branding, new liveries on the buses, a massive ad campaign, that SMART was moving on from what it was and turning into something new. But in that 1 year of new SMART, their drivers, the rank and file who make this organization run, have been working for just a week shy of 9 months without a contract, which is causing a major struggle to attract and retain new operators and make progress toward a crisis that has been affecting this agency for many years and causing cancellations. Cancellations which, in spite of my previous comments, do seem to be not only not getting better, but actively getting worse as we speak. Few anecdotes just from the past week. Your basic cuts on the 796, 2 days in a row, it lost at least one run. I think actually 2 runs yesterday out of its 4. A 7-run gap twice in the past week on routes 14 and 420, leaving no service in one direction on both routes for 8 hours straight. No 460 service at all this past Sunday. Both of the scheduled runs at 2-hour headways were canceled according to trackers. A triple cut on 261 last week, leading a 2-hour service gap for those trying to get to Metro Airport and maybe catch expensive scheduled flights that they were depending on SMART to get them to. So if SMART cannot deliver the service it's already promising, we have no assurance that they'll be able to deliver on Oakland Transit. After it's been nearly 9 months, more than 9 months that they've had the funding that the voters have entrusted them with to expand into all of Oakland County. We've seen the cuts that we were told would make that possible, but none of the planned extensions into Novi, Waterford, Rochester Hills, etc. We've seen the 796 and 760 go away on Saturdays, but nothing gained to speak of in that compromise we were promised was necessary. So we cannot expect to be on par with other regions if SMART cannot be on par with the service provided just 4 years ago. I would urge you to make more progress toward ratifying a contract and solving the operator crisis so we can get moving with expansion. And to close, I would ask that the written comments be read into the record at today's meeting because there are a number of my colleagues who weren't able to make it today. And I would appreciate if they were assured that their comments weren't ignored, as many of them fear they are. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Madam Chair, I have an email from Robert Pulaski I would like to read, if that's okay.
Please.
Good afternoon, members of the board and staff. I hope you are doing well and enjoying the nice weather this week. I am not trying to be rude while voicing this comment, but after 6 years of my life, I have been passionate about advocating for public transit. This is one of the worst times for SMART I've seen in many years of riding this system. With the past year and 8 months of consistent missed runs, lack of drivers, cutbacks on service, and plans to expand service in Oakland County, it has been made known that SMART does not just have big goals, but cannot fulfill them. We saw people at the July board meeting come in with anger, including people who don't live within SMART service zone. It has been clear that most of the board wants to see action, including some staff, after the last meeting. Members of the public last month talked about multiple topics that I've already listed. The one thing that sticks out is missed runs. We all know how we got there, and it's disgraceful to see these drivers suffer. Much worse than the rapid bus driver strike in Grand Rapids earlier this year. This has got to stop, and it's getting beyond ridiculous and uncalled for on a leadership level. SMART has so much hope going into the future, and I'll continue to advocate for it. However, the issue we have been brought up repeatedly without listening, and leadership is doing the same thing constantly by ignoring us when we want better transit service. That's not leadership, it's corruption. Listen to your board members and staff who want the change. Stop making excuses and do the work you are hired to do. Keep your promises and let's get back to normal and continue to grow SMART and its name for many years. Thank you. Best regards, Robert Pulaski, Vice Chair of the RTA. Those are all the comments via email, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no other members of the public that would like to participate, we'll close public participation and move on to item number 8, the chairperson's report. Well, I am very pleased to be back at Macomb Community College and this lovely campus up on Garfield and M59. I would ask my colleagues from Macomb if they would like to say any words of welcome or update and anything, JP
Yeah.
or Vicky?
Thank you, Chairwoman Chambers. We want to welcome everyone not only to the east side, but appreciate the strong partnership and advocacy that Macomb Community College, President Sawyer, the Board of Trustees, and all the advocates across the entire organization have given to mobility enhancements across Macomb County. Having the anchor here where not only the crosstown routes and the Garfield route come in as a hub and spoke model for here has not only helped us anchor the flex service along M59, but having celebrated and actually launched that a few short years ago here, I think it really is taking hold to a number of those aspirations that we've had in that new mobility model. So very much appreciative of everyone coming out to the east side, and obviously with the impending and still pending doom of weather that is in the area. Appreciate my colleagues showing up today, and Vicky, I'll throw it over to you for anything.
No, I think I'm good. You said it well, JP.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
my apologies for the interruption. There was one more that I missed. And for the record, his name is Michael Willard, and I'll forward that to the board for them to review.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 9, the general manager's report.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, members of the board. All right.
Good
All right.
afternoon.
I'm going to have some of my colleagues help me on the general manager's report. The first one is going to be from our vice president of planning to talk about some service that we're going to be implementing in September.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm here to share that on Monday, September 11th, which is the beginning of our quarterly run pick, we will kick off the first round of expansions in Oakland County. We will have 68 new bus stops serving Novi, Wixom, and Bloomfield Hills. I think it's to be of note that this is the first time in 28 years there will be transit service in Novi and Bloomfield Hills. And to the best of my knowledge, it'll be the first time Wixom has had fixed route transit service. So we are thrilled to begin the expansion and to get these buses out on the road in these communities.
Thank you.
The next thing I'd like to brief the board on is our Vice President of External Affairs is going to give a recap of a conversation that two conversations, as a matter of fact, that I've had with the minority newspapers that represent the Asian, the Hispanic, the Jewish, and the Arab American communities. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do it is we want our service, our staff to reflect the region that we serve. So we're going to be doing a lot of outreach in terms of jobs in those communities and through those newspapers. And with that, I'll turn the rest over to Bernard.
So good afternoon, Bernard Parker, Vice President of External Affairs, and through the chair. Ironically, our boss stole my thunder because exactly what he just articulated, I've written, typed out on my phone. But yes, absolutely. A few weeks ago, we met with the New Michigan media. And as we move forward to be more diverse and inclusive in our ridership, we met with 5 major newspapers: Arabic, Asian, Jewish, Latino. And then also we've been meeting with African-American newspaper through Michigan Chronicle, Hiram Jackson. And again, the purpose is simply this, is to reach a targeted audience for recruitment, to hear about their experiences as it relates to ridership, transit, and then even workforce development. What's unique about these publications, JP, is that, particularly the Jewish community, the publications reach over 140,000 targeted folks, whether it's on websites, quarterly newspapers, magazines, newsletters. And for us, what was thrilling was just an opportunity for the very first time for them to meet Mr. Farrell as general manager of SMART, but for them to tell their stories. And what we found is each community is different in its own way. Some were more concerned about elderly, others were concerned more about workforce development. And then some was just simply, we just want to be able to have the opportunity to be mobile or transit throughout the three major communities within counties rather within Southeast Michigan. So it's very eye-opening. And of course, we're keeping that dialogue. And in closing, we've already started in some of the publications and doing some of the things. For instance, our last hiring event through the Arab American News, JP, we actually went and had our advertisement translated into Arabic. And so we look to do that within the other communities as well. So thank you very much for your time.
The only thing I'd like to add to that is not only do we want to diversify our staff, but also contracting opportunities. There are a number of small businesses, minority-owned businesses that are out there that don't even think about the fact that they could do business with us. So in the coming months, we'll be coming to the board because we do spend federal dollars. We are required to have certain percentage of our contracts go to disadvantaged businesses, which is defined by them. But that does not mean that the board cannot have its own goals as it relates to minority vendors, women-owned vendors, and veterans. So we're going to be developing something in the coming months with you all in concert so that we can spread the wealth, for lack of a better term, to the business in Southeast Michigan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Farrell, was there any other additional items in your general manager report?
No. Oh, yes, there is. I'm sorry. So, Madam Chair, this is to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the partnership between SMART and MDOT. So 50 years, long time. I had black hair back then. So.
So MDOT presented it to us, or we
It was-
presented it to, yes, they presented it to
They
us.
presented it to us at the Michigan Public Transportation Association meeting earlier this week. Just.
Very nice. So Bernard wants a picture. I was getting this. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So do we all want to share what we were doing? Are you working in Oakland County in 1973? Did everyone know that Mr. Manico was in our planning?
Oh, yeah.
Brett can still find memos in his files, so.
Wow. Wow.
A lot of typos in those maps. Didn't have computers.
Al, how about you? What were you doing in 1973?
I was born in 74.
Say.
It's 73. I was born politically because it's the first year I ran for political office. 1973. I ran for city council in the city of Wayne.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I do have one story to tell. In 1976, when the first county executive came in, I was tasked to go to every community with Dan Dirks, who was a general manager. At that time, he was a planner, I think, for SIMTA. And we were asked to look at a $500,000 from each community to have a countywide dial ride system. 63 communities at that time, night meetings. I think I was out there a full year at least, trying to get into Rose Township, Springfield Township, et cetera. And it was a very interesting experience at that time to get the pulse of the community. Again, the southeast portion of the county wanted public transit. They wanted the dial ride system. but the other 3/4 of the county certainly was opposed to it. So it was a very interesting process. I thought we had a chance when we began. When I got done meeting with 63 communities, I felt in talking to County Executive Murphy, I said, we don't stand a snowball's chance, but I'm glad to see 50 years later that we do have a countywide millage.
Took us 50 years, but we got it over the finish line.
Sometimes planning takes a long time.
Imagine where we're going to be in 2073.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll move on to item number 10, the board briefings. The HR hiring update is first.
Good afternoon. Well, last month for our board update on the hiring update, we did a much more involved discussion to bring you up to speed on the past year of hiring and what the experience has been. And in that presentation, committed to you that every month we would come back with the numbers from the previous month to show that that same activity. So for this month, what we have seen is still a strong number of applications coming in for our CSSAs. We had 26 applications from July 24th to today. For mechanics, just 2 applications have come in. For fixed route operators, we saw 48 applications, and for connector drivers or operators, we saw 38. So for drivers overall, we saw 86 applications. Total for these positions, 114 applications. In that, we did hire for 24 total positions for various positions, but I'll highlight the 3 that I think are most poignant to this audience, and that is we hired 8 fixed route coach operators, 1 connector bus operator, and 4 mechanics overall. So we had some applications that were still in process from the previous month, so we were able to get some more mechanics on board. From that, we also want to be honest about the number of folks that are no longer with us. So what we also looked at was the number of separations in that same time period. And what we saw was that we had a total of 11 separations of fixed route and connector operators that were still in training. So total for hiring for this particular month is a net -2 on the operator side. I wish I had better news to share, but that is our reality. At this time, we are beginning a process of looking into what is happening in the training process and working with Amy May to determine if there is something that we can do to better retain our trainees once they're in the system. A lot of it is sometimes we have no shows. They get the job, we set them up, and then they just don't come to training. There's not too much we can do about those, but for the ones that are in the system and start to show up, we'll see if we can do a deep dive into how to better retain them. We did have this past month a hiring event at Focus Hope. Bernard alluded to that, a very successful event. We will continue to do those. We had 88 attendees. We made 29 offers. 3 of those offers are complete, and we have start dates for August 28th for those candidates. And we are still in the process, the hiring process for the remaining offers that were made. So more to come on that. Hope to have some news to share next month in a hiring update concerning the operators and what we are doing to move forward that agenda.
Thank you. We appreciate the transparency, even when it's difficult news. With the separations, they were actually employed. You don't count as a separation if they went through training and didn't start, there were no shows, or do you count that as a separation?
Our system does count them as a separation. We never counted them officially as operators in our system,
Okay.
but they didn't make it through the training. We're trying to show what we are doing in terms of hiring, because if we
Got it.
didn't do that, we would have no numbers to show.
And do you have an opportunity to do any type of exit interview with any of them in terms of reasons?
Sometimes we can get a reason. It is rare that you can
Okay.
get them from the trainees.
So one of the things that we are going to do, there are certain steps that they have to progress through. Some of them don't have CDLs, some of them have more difficulty getting CDLs. Some will get discouraged and quit because they couldn't get a CDL and things like that. So we want to work through that to see if we can help eliminate that. Because it takes a lot for us to recruit somebody. And so if it's just a matter of you not being able to pass the CDL, we'll work with you until you do. So there are some things that we're going to be trying to work through as far as that's concerned.
That's good. Any other questions from my colleagues? And then item number B is the new paratransit vans. Good evening, Danny.
Good evening.
Excuse me, this is a video from the Blues Brothers.
The other one's hiding. Oh, no, he's up here. Come on up. So, members of the board, good evening. Luana and I worked with Smart staff to put together a video to show the difference between the rear loading and the side loading paratransit vans that the board graciously approved the funding to allow us to upgrade them. And then after the video plays, we're going to show what those vehicles will look like with the new paint design. So that.
You don't want to miss this.
Good morning, Smart's Board of Directors. On behalf of Smart's Maintenance Department and
Smart's Paratransit Department.
we bring to you the Game Changer. The Game Changer takes the vehicle from being a rear mounted to a side deployed vehicle. This actually brings more of a more safe, direct approach to loading a ADA passenger onto Smart's transportation.
Smart's focus is always on the safety of passengers and our operators. And the Game Changer takes that to another level. With our current fleet of cutaway vehicles, Smart has always had a side loading functionality, as you see with this new Game Changer. And we believe that this is a safer feature for our passengers as well as our operators. And you're going to see a few slides of why the differences are so important to not only Smart, but to the region and the community.
As we explored the differences between the rear loading transit vehicle and the side loading transit vehicle, we'll first begin with the rear loader. As the driver gets into position to drop off an ADA rider, they may need assistance in order to get the vehicle safely into position to drop off the rider. Once in position, the rider then can be safely deployed onto the curbside. While the rider is safe, the vehicle may still be impeding traffic. Now let's take a look at that same rear loading vehicle as it approaches curbside. This time, we'll be picking up a rider. So as that same rider was deployed safely on curbside, in order to board the vehicle once again, the rider may be forced to load in impeding traffic. And that may not be safe. So now we'll take a look at the side loading vehicle, the Game Changer. The side loading vehicle is a lot safer. As it pulls up to the curbside, the driver is able to deploy the rider safely on the curbside, and the vehicle is not impeding traffic. This is the same when the rider is being picked up and placed back on board the vehicle. So of course, we believe the Game Changer is the smart way to go.
We would like to thank Quincy Lewis from Smart's marketing team, Norm Buhajar from Smart's paratransit team, and a special thanks to Aaron Bosley, one of Smart's Oakland paratransit operators, for assisting in this demonstration today.
And we would also like to give a big thanks out to Mobility Transportation, who is responsible for the actual manufacturing of both of these vehicles.
Smart would also like to thank Smart's Board of Directors for graciously approving Smart to purchase the side loading Game Changer vehicles at the June board meeting.
Thank you.
Life, smart, you.
Yeah, we're not going to get any.
Just remember, it was unscripted.
And we did do probably a half dozen takes on it. Really? We're not.
I want to know where the outtakes are.
I was thinking that Dwight might be in the chair coming down on the.
See, if they had asked, I would have loved to do that next time.
Next time, absolutely.
That was fabulous.
Thank you. So we would also like to show what these vehicles will look like with the new paint scheme. And so first is going to be the van, the Game Changer, with the side load feature.
And then next will be our paratransit van or vehicles, the cutaways with the new paint colors. And so those should be coming towards the end of this year.
Yes.
Very nice.
How many of the rear loading vans do we have? And then what becomes of them? Do we just use them without using the rear loading?
Well, on hand, Smart only operates right now 6 rear loading vans. Majority of the vans are now in the communities, which now as we move forward, the Game Changer will be available for their purchase.
So currently directly operated, we don't have any rear loading. All of our cutaways are currently in service. Those load from the side. The vans were added to the fleet to access, tighter spaces, apartment complexes, and areas where we feel that loading from the back is really unsafe. And so this provides us the opportunity to add additional safety features. And as Luan said, we now have an option for the communities going forward.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Danny and Luan, how's the training been going with the operators on this? Obviously, with the new feature on that end, one of the things we've been discussing is safety and providing the resources to our operators to make sure this is as seamless as possible. How's that process been going and what's the feedback we're hearing from the operators?
So if you're referring to the wheelchair training that we've been going, yeah, it's been really good. We've done 3 sessions now. We did the last one a few weeks ago in Wayne, where we had communities from all three counties show up. We've been able to not only teach better ways to strap wheelchairs down, but also the wheelchair extenders and how to properly use those so that the chairs are as secure as possible. Operators have been learning new methods. Our operators have been getting good feedback from communities. It's been a really good interactive back and forth.
Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Well done on the video.
Thank you.
One of the other things is 2 things actually. If you'll note in the video, there were times when the operator had to back up, of which we don't want them doing.
Yeah.
So that eliminates that. And the other thing is those vehicles will be in all likelihood what we will deploy when we expand flex. As opposed to what VIA uses right now, which is some. Right. So that's the intent, is to deploy vehicles like that when SMART brings some of that and starts delivering flex service itself as we expand.
It's interesting. I mean, why did the rear loading become the way that people went? Because it seems so obvious. At first, it felt like, okay, I could see rear loading, but when you had to back in to the space, it was like, why would you think that was the way to go?
Well, it's a lot easier just from the vehicle's perspective to put a rear loader in because you don't have to make any modifications to the vehicle. To put the side loading in, you gotta cut, right, so you have to do a lot of engineering to make sure that the structure is sound once you cut a big hole, a big hole in the side. So that's it, and so that's, I think, to me, that's the future. It's certainly our future, but I think that it's gonna be the future of the industry going forward.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I have one, Madam Chair. Will any of these be electric?
One day. Yes. So just so that the board will know, we currently have on the street an RFP for an alternative fuel analysis. That will come to the board for approval ultimately. And in doing so, that assessment is going to determine for the future what our mix needs to be between electric and hydrogen. The electric vehicles, quite frankly, just don't have the range. We've talked to some other people who have done it. AC Transit, for one, thought they were going to go 100%. As it turned out, they went 30% electric and 70% hydrogen. And so one of the things I've also found out recently that there's some green hydrogen generation opportunities. So once we get that done, then we can determine what percentage of our fleet, because I think right now they run on propane.
Yeah, so the cutaways will remain propane. The vans will come in as gasoline.
For now.
For now.
And the struggle that we have had as an industry, you can't get a diesel one of these anymore. nobody makes a diesel engine in the paratransit space. So it's either gas or propane powered, which is a real problem because they're really not designed to do the kind of heavy duty work that we're doing. So just the FYI.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to new business. Number A, I'll take a motion to approve the nominating committee appointments.
Or
Gosh, everyone's a little hesitant about this one. I don't see why.
I don't know if you want to
We have to-
yeah, but probably need a point.
I know, it's
Right.
been approved and supported, and Laura, do you want to tell us what we
Thank
have to
you.
do here? I mean, I know where this is leading, but.
Yes. This agenda item seeks board approval of the chair's appointments to a nominating committee, which will recommend candidates to the full board to serve as chair and vice chair during the 23-24 term. In accordance with board bylaws, Article 3, Sections 3 and 4, the board chair, subject to the approval of the SMART board, shall appoint a nominating committee. The chair will name 3 board members to the committee, and board approval by resolution is required. I'm here to request that the board chair name 3 board members to the committee, none of whom are currently board officers, and specify which member will serve as chairperson.
And remind us of the officers. So that would, Mr. Haddis is not a candidate for this nomination. Correct? Is there anyone else?
The chair and vice chair.
Right.
Yeah.
I know,
Correct.
I know. Okay, so we have, Ms. Wolber is a volunteer, and, Brett Razigan is a volunteer. And then, Dr. Ivory or Mr. Manico, is any volunteers? What this entails generally one meeting before our October meeting, right? Or before September,
Correct. Before the September meeting.
Right. In person?
I don't know.
historically.
Yes, in person. Yep.
Excellent. And do you generally do it before the next meeting? Yeah, okay, so generally before the next board meeting in September, the committee will meet. Any volunteers? Do they have to be separate? They have to be someone from every county?
Should be me.
Okay, and it can't be, so Dr. Ivory, sorry, you're nominated.
So,
Okay,
so.
Okay.
So when am I nominated?
to be on the committee that selects the next board chair and vice chair, because we rotate every year.
Oh, I can do that easily.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. And Vicky will serve as the chair of this committee. So Vicky Wolber as the chair and Brett Razigan and Dr. Curtis Ivory as the members of the committee.
Madam Chair, I make that motion for those members nominated.
I'll support it, Madam Chair.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the ayes have it. So moving on to item number B, I'll take a motion to approve a resolution authorizing a contract for water vacuum and hydraulic hoses and fitting service.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support.
Moved and supported.
Good evening, Madam Chair, SMART's Board of Directors, General Manager Farrell, Deputy General Manager Gunter, SMART staff and participating members of the public. On behalf of SMART's Maintenance Department, is the recommendation that the board adopts an attached resolution authorizing a contract to award water, vacuum, and hydraulic hoses and fitting services to Exotic Automations. This is a 3-year contract with 2 one-year options at a cost not to exceed $175,000. Any questions?
No questions. All those in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is approved. We'll move on to item number C. I'll take a motion to award a contract for sign poles and anchor sleeves.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported.
Yes, it's the recommendation that the board adopts the attached resolution authorizing award contract for sign posts and anchor sleeves to Vulcan Inc. This is a 1-year contract with one-year renewal option at a total cost of $240,000. Any questions?
Is this the incumbent? Or is
No.
this a new?
No, this is not the incumbent. I believe this actual was presented to the board maybe three board members, or 3 board meetings ago. And actually, the incumbent didn't produce a COI. So this is the second runner-up.
Okay, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the resolution is approved. I'll take a motion to award a 2-month contract ratifying the Swiftly Mobility Platform for Transit.
So move. Support.
Been moved and supported.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before, Ms. Brownlee, this is her first presentation.
It is.
Nice. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, General Manager Farrell, Deputy General Manager Gunther, staff and public. Thanks for allowing me to present this recommendation to the board. Staff recommend board's approval of resolution authorizing a 2-month contract ratification. The delay of this contract ratification is due to negotiations between SMART and Swiftly. Continuation of this project is important to the daily operations of SMART for the departments that are involved with operations and passengers. Staff recommends board approval of the resolution authorizing this approval for the following contract to Swiftly at a cost of, for 2 months, of $62,629.67. Paid with the operating dollars. Continuation of this project is imperative for all our daily operations. Thank you. Any questions?
Seeing no questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it and the resolution is approved. Thank you. And moving to item number G, a resolution on the fiscal year 2024 Unified Work Program. I'm sorry, I said D, sorry, resolution E. Okay, we're back to Swiftly, authorizing a 10-month award for Swiftly Mobility Platform for Transit.
Staff recommends board approval of a resolution authorizing the approval of a 10-month contract with 2 one-year options. Continuation of this project, again, is very important for our daily operations for the public and the employees at SMART. Staff recommends board approval of the resolution authorizing the approval of the following contract to Swiftly at a cost not to exceed $1,179,374.27. Any questions?
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Support.
It's moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a motion to consider a resolution for the fiscal year 2024 Unified Work Program.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Ms. Lloyd?
Thank you. Staff recommends board approval of the resolution authorizing the general manager to execute a project agreement with SEMCOG for an FTA Section 8 Technical Studies Grant and to confirm that a local match is available. This grant is commonly known as the Unified Work Program. This is an annual grant that SMART receives from SEMCOG that allows us to conduct planning activities throughout the year. It assists with such costs as planning, staff salaries, public hearing costs, and trainings. This year's grant will allow funding for staff to manage the areas of persistent poverty grant that we've received for the city of Pontiac. The grant is for $389,500, of which SMART's 18.15% match is $70,694, and it has been included in this year's budget. Staff is available for questions.
Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the ayes have it, and the resolution is approved. I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Moved and supported. Roll call.
Madam Hillary Chambers,
Aye.
Mr. Abdul Haddis,
Yes.
Dr. Curtis Ivory,
Aye.
Mr. Royce Manico,
Yes.
Mr. Brett Rizigan,
Yes.
Mr. John Paul Rea,
Yes.
Ms. Vicky Wilbur.
Yes.
All right. All right, thank you all for your patience. I'll take a motion.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we proceed as recommended by council in closed session.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Does it have to be a roll call?
No.
No, thank you. The motion is approved. Seeing no board member business, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Supported.